All right, we will call the April 26th Crow Wing County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. If you join us for the pledge in a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And just a reminder, if anybody wants to speak to open forum, there's forms out on the desk. Please have those filled out and turned into trees. With that, we'll start with open forum. First on the list is Troy Scheffler.
Hey y'all, here to talk about the Sheriff's Department, and whereas Worshipful Master Scott Goddard and his senior warden Andy Gallus. Mainly I wanted to talk about the sexcapades that were going on, but I'm sure everyone's aware of that. But what's interesting about the matter is this has been going on for years and years and years. I remember hearing stories that were validated about deputies having sex in the jail and then somehow becoming directors of the skills program. That's kind of interesting. So teaching new officers. Another interesting thing is that sheriffs matter. They really do. And they have the ability to ignore things, and they have the ability to actually change things and fix departments. So with that said, you went from sex in the jail between married adults and not like married between each other. It was kind of bad. So then new sheriff comes in, cleans it up, then we get another sheriff, and it just continues to decline. And talking about Scott Goddard, last year I went into the department at least 15 times, and I literally mean at least 15 times. Not one person knew where he was, not one. Talked to his brass, no clue. Rumor has it, when people confront him about it, he tells people, I'm an elected official, I only need to show up once a year. Well, that's a hell of a thing to say if it's true, and I have no reason to doubt it, considering he's never around. He did show up a couple weeks ago. I'm sure that's because of election cycle. He has a placard now. That's interesting, too. It's not getting used very much. So I actually did a data request with Mr. Hool here about what proof is there to show that the sheriff is even serving the public after they elect him and are paying him the salary. And Mr. Hool responded with nothing. There's like zero way to prove Scott's ever on duty. And that's kind of concerning in its own right. Then I started digging in a little deeper about interesting things that get talked about with regard to the sheriff. And that's his canine Lincoln. Saw him dragging the dog around during the skate with the police thing that, of course, during the election cycle, all of a sudden pops up for publicity. And on the back of the card, it goes on to say that that this dog's been used for critical incident support, forensic interviews of child victims, witnesses, etc. And so I made this data request asking for one example of this happening, because the county is, I'm sure, paying for the vet bills and the food and everything else, and probably this card to give out this this information. Well, once again, I was responded with zero examples of this dog being used for the purpose it was sold on the taxpayers for. That's interesting. So why is it being sold this way? I mean, in my estimation, when you're bilking taxpayers for money and you're selling something that's not true, it's kind of a matter of fraud, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure the county attorney here would know best. So there's that. But I just kind of want dignity to be brought back to the sheriff's department. And I'm just not seeing that. And I think it's an election cycle that's a very important one that we really need to focus on. And then there's another thing that was going on with regard to the sheriff's department, and I'm waiting on, actually, let's go back to a year ago about the sheriff. This is another interesting thing. During the COVID, whatever you want to call it, hoax, whatever, you guys ended up shutting down a lot of buildings. The sheriff even more so went out of his way to deliver fines for the state to all these small businesses. Now, all of a sudden, my property tax is skyrocketing. No surprise there. I'm sure that has a lot to do with a lot of small businesses not paying taxes anymore because they're out of business. So why would you guys do that to us? I mean, you guys bought a mobile morgue. That didn't work. Like I said last time, I think it should be turned into a party bus. Make some use of it. Do you guys even still have it, or did you sell it? I mean, do something with it. So I'm sure I'll have something else to say in a couple more weeks, because there's always seeming to be a problem in this county and it never gets fixed, like ever. And it doesn't seem like it's ever even being addressed. And these are like serious things. Another data request that I did with the county is why they continually run my protected data. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 examples of it that I'm waiting to hear back from. And Mr. Hool at first said I should be paying some money to figure out why they're running my data. That's kind of BS. But, that got fixed because I really shouldn't, and someone called them out on that, so I'm glad.
We need to start winding down here.
Oh, right on, yeah. So anyhow, it was good seeing you guys again. It's just kind of sad to get any attention from the sheriff. You gotta get dolled up and look sexy. At least that's what I hear. Have a good day.
Thank you. All right, next, Robin Sylvester.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am Robin Sylvester. I'm a Crow Wing County resident. My main focus today will be to reintroduce you to the 2022 election machines and the opportunity for you all to take advantage of a free survey to ensure that our Windows operating systems, our election equipment is ready and secure for our 2022 election. I want to remind the county that we have submitted a number of affidavits, a couple of affidavits and a number of evidentiary cases during our foot canvassing. 3 of the situations, and this is the response from the county, quote, and these are voters that voted, but this is the county's response. We have no record of a vote for Mr. Blank. The number of vote receipts and ballots were reconciled and certified by the election judges at the Brainerd 2-2 polling place on Election Day. The next one, quote, we have no record of this vote. The number of voter receipts and ballots were reconciled and certified by the election judges at Brainerd Precinct 2-2. Third case, we have no record of this person voting. We have handwritten, signed affidavits from these individuals from Crow Wing County. Then indeed, they did vote in the 2020 election. How is Crow Wing County going to address those changes for this 2022 cycle? I have provided you a map of the Election Assistance Commission certified voting machine by county. You all should have this in your packet. Crow Wing County indeed was not certified. And is it today? I don't know the answer. My understanding is many counties are going to be paying another $400,000 for new equipment this year. Crow Wing County's equipment was purchased in 2018. The price tag on those machines were over $375,000. My next guest, who is online with us, Rick Weibel, will give you more information. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr.
I'm on the
Weibel.
phone. Yes, can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. My name is Rick Weibel. I'm over in South Dakota, and I am part of D3 Defense, and we have reviewed kind of the historical of your systems. And when we look at your original EAC certificate for Dominion Democracy Suite 4.14.E, right at the very last line of that certificate from the EAC, states the certificate is not an endorsement of the product by any agency of the U.S. government, and the warranty of the product is either expressed or implied. On page 2 of that scope of certification, it directly states an EAC certification is not a determination that the system is ready for use in an election. Also, the way that that system was built, it was tested for only Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008. If you had upgraded the system to Windows 10 or even a later server, you would be out of certification. You'd be out of compliance. Just so that you're aware, that system was no longer supported by Microsoft as of January 14th, 2020. Therefore, while you were getting updates on your home machine and your iPhones, this system was no longer getting any system support or security patches from Microsoft. To ensure that we have the correct information, we do have a free survey that you can take to itemize your election equipment, turn it into us, and then we will let you know the details of whether or not each of those manufacturers that you have using your system for the elections is actually supported by the manufacturers, and if there are patches that are out there to make sure that you're at the latest security levels. The other thing is we looked at your budgets and the financial cost of each of the ballots since 2008 to 2020. And what is interesting is that the cost per ballot has increased from about $7 on up to $12 per ballot. So that is a 68% increase in a short amount of time. And that is concerning, that actually doing it by hand the old way before the machines was cheaper, more accurate, and it also ends any type of conspiracy theories when you have active participants actually counting the ballots versus trying to get at how the machine interpreted it without proper oversight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next on the list, Sonia Slack.
Hi, Sonia Slack. I'm a resident of Crow Wing County. I hope none of you has contempt in your heart for any speakers today. I just want to remind you we all have busy, meaningful lives, and we're not being paid to come here. We really think it's necessary for us to be here today. On January 6th, I began asking for a report from the county's 2020 election results, widely known as the CVR report or Cast Vote Record Report. It's a report that lists ballot data in the order that each ballot was run through the scanners or tabulators. It would list the time the ballot was run through, which precinct, whether it was in-person or absentee, specific choices made for each race, things like that. It would not identify any voter information, as the ballots themselves are not matched up to a voter. People have requested that report in other states and received it, but not in Minnesota. I have been told no for 3 different separate reasons. First, we can't give you that data because it's a security issue. Then we can't give it to you because it's proprietary. Lastly, on March 31st, I was told no because you don't even have a per ballot report. Dominion's website brags that results are easily audited and comes with a standard feature called Audit Mark. I'll give you some information on that when I'm finished. That, quote, provides a clear and fully auditable single vote cast record for every ballot cast. Well, that is exactly what I've been asking for since January 6th, but now you say you don't have that report. Yesterday, I was told you couldn't even tell me what Windows version you were using during the election or what version of Dominion ImageCast you were running because it's not public data due to security. Here we go again. I suspect your Windows version is out of date, meaning it was not protected as you are legally responsible to ensure. It seems when you don't want to provide something, you say it's because of security issues. It's a big blanket that it seems to me that you're hiding behind. No data I've requested has anything to do with security, and I think you know that. I want transparency and trust in the process. You and I don't seem to be on the same page, and I'm struggling to understand why. I was here when you passed a resolution January 4th asking for a forensic audit. Steve Simon said no. Are you finished? Unless your action was just false grandstanding, you need to push back against the establishment and continue to represent your districts. Do you think that Steve Simon didn't know about the certification issues? I think you've been, left out holding the bag. His answer should have made you stand tall and demand control. I think you must consider the following resolution. As you must know, it is your responsibility to ensure honest elections in the county. God put you at this time and place for a reason. I propose you adopt the following resolution. Minnesota Statute 206.58 Subdivision 3, Authorization for Use, states that counties, the governing body of a county, may provide for the use of an electronic voting system in one or more precincts of the county at all elections. The governing body of the municipality shall give approval before an electronic voting system may be adopted or used in the municipality under the authority of this section. No system may be adopted or used unless it has been approved by the Secretary of State pursuant to Section 206.57. Given that the electronic voting system equipment currently used in Crow Wing County, which was purchased in 2018, utilizes an operating system that is no longer supported by the manufacturer in terms of security or maintenance, thereby increasing the possibility of unwanted accessing and manipulation of code. And given that the general public, based upon numerous reports and articles, is wary of and has lost faith in electronic, especially Dominion, voting equipment, and given that it is reported that Dominion voting system equipment are designed to be capable of giving a weight to votes cast, if not simply adjust the number of votes per candidate, and given that the cost to update or replace and recertify the current electronic voting equipment could be many times more than the cost of the performance of a simple physical hand count. It is therefore resolved that the authorized use of all Dominion Democracy Suite voting equipment, including but not limited to ImageCast Central and ImageCast Evolution, is suspended for the 2022 election season, as well as any attempt to migrate to a newer version of Dominion or any other electronic system. I'll leave copies of this for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, John Sylvester.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. I'll ask Mike Howard.
Well, I'm here for the same reason I've been here before, the red roads and blue roads. Let's all imagine that we're at a big potluck, and all of us brought food equally to share with our friends. And I invite everybody up to the table to help themselves, except you guys. You guys have to take a sheet of paper and go around to 75% of the people and ask them if they think you should get fed. Because you guys are special, or not special. You guys are discriminated against. And then you'll bring that paper to me, and I'll say, well, maybe I'll give you a little food if there's any left over at the end. That's what's happening to the roads I drive on. Because they're, I don't remember, red roads, blue roads, whatever they are. The neighbors down the road across the street, they get a grader to come out and grade their roads and maintain their roads on a regular basis. They have to beg no one for that service. It's just automatic. It's part of they paid their taxes. But me, I have to petition the county to please come out and put a little gravel on my road and grade it. Why do I have to be treated differently? Why can't you put all the roads on a systematic, regular basis of maintenance? All the same. If my neighbor gets graded once a month, you can come over and grade my road once a month. That's all I'm asking for, is equality without being persecuted and being demeaned by having to beg for something. Let's start with that. Anybody have an answer?
One, I don't know what road you're even talking about.
I'm talking about Ward Avenue. It's south of Sinisam. You have a system of roads where there's red roads, blue roads, green roads, etc. And the red roads, I believe it is, are the ones that only get graded if the people, 75% of the people on the road request from the county it to be graded. There's also a Ward Avenue in St. Columbo. That road gets graded every month, gravel added as needed, but not Ward. You'll come out once a year, if you're requested, and put a little gravel on and grade it. So you have the equipment, you have the ability, you just discriminate against the people on certain roads. We pay taxes. Maybe you'd like us to grade the road ourselves and then deduct from the taxes we're billed for the amount that we pay to fix the roads ourselves. If you don't want to do it, that would be a fair way. There's got to be a way you can get to take care of this, to take care of all citizens. By the way, I noticed other people said they were Crow Wing County citizens. I was born down the street at the hospital. I am a citizen of Crow Wing County, no doubt about it. Lived here all my life. I just want to be treated like the people on the other roads. Can you do that?
Well, we don't take action at open forum, but we'll look into your issue here. And
Okay. The form I turned in has my phone number
Yep.
and my email on it. I'd like to hear a response from each of you as to what you're going to do about it and why things are that way.
we'll
Thank
look
you.
into it and get back. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was the last open forum.
Anybody else?
I don't believe, is there anybody else? Okay. All right, so the next item is review and approve the April 12th Crow Wing County Board meeting and the April 19th special Crow Wing County Board meeting. Can we do that in one motion, Tim?
I think it's okay.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
And we have a motion by Commissioner Franzine, second by Commissioner Corning. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 4, review and approve today's agenda. I know there was one addition. Where did I? Oh, here. A letter of support for a Region 5 grant through Sourcewell. If the board would entertain to add that under additional business?
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda with the additional item that's been identified.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Barrows, second by Commissioner Coring. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 5 is the consent agenda. Are there any questions, comments, concerns?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Franzine, second by Commissioner Coring. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on. Land Services. Ryan.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. So back in 2019, the county board approved a landfill reimbursement policy for nonprofit organizations or organizations that do community outreach to apply for up to a $1,000 reimbursement for items that they're bringing to the landfill. And we have in our policy, or I guess a summary of what's happened since 2019. So in 2019, during the first year, we had 2 applications, one from Salem West for $1,000 and another one that was not from a 501c3, so we didn't approve that one. In 2020, we had no applications. And in 2021, we had 1 application from Salem West for $964. And so in our policy, it states that we would bring this back to the board for review in early '22 to see if you'd like to continue or discontinue the program. So that's essentially why we're back here today, just to provide a summary and see if you'd like to move forward or discontinue.
Mr. Chair, so Ryan, just a question. So is this, if we approve this today, then it'll be ongoing, or are we going to review it next year? I guess I would like to review it again next year, and rather than just have it ongoing.
We could approve it and modify the very last sentence in the policy that early in 2023 we'd bring it back. Absolutely. Yep.
What do you think? I don't know.
I think that's good.
I just think, you know, you do all this stuff and then it never seems to go away. I think a review of it just to see if it's something that's needed, and if we don't need it, then get rid of it. So what would, Tim, what would that do then? Would we just change the date in there on this, or what do you think?
Let me pull it up. Which date are you referring to?
Well, I don't know, that
Last
last,
bullet, you
With the
change it to
annual review?
2023.
Or should we just do an annual review, so that way we,
Yeah, that could be.
we don't have to.
I think typically that is what we do, is we
Okay.
would put in there for an annual review of our policies. I think that's best practice.
okay. So does this resolution need to be changed, or where would you, as the parliamentarian, where would you change that?
Let me pull that.
It's on the screen.
We're just asking to continue the program.
Okay,
Mr.
the
Chair, I would
last bullet, just put for annual review instead of early 2022.
To continue the landfill reimbursement program and to review it annually.
Okay, I would make that motion with the addition.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Coring, seconded by Commissioner Franzine. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. County Sheriff. County Attorney.
Morning, everybody. Good to see you back, Commissioner Coring. You're looking very bright and cheery for spring.
Trying to bring spring back here.
Well, I hope that you're successful. It's time for the snow and the ice to go. I don't have anything specific for the county board today. I just thought maybe I'd show up instead of just always watching on Teams and stuff like that, and see if you had any questions in person.
Any
No
questions?
questions. Glad to see you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. County Administrator.
Mr. Chair, enclosed in your packet is a request for board action to allocate some of our American Rescue Plan Act dollars. You may recall that back in March of 2021, the American Rescue Plan was signed into law, provided, among other things, for direct payments to counties for COVID-19 relief efforts. Crow Wing County's allocation is over $12 million. We have to spend that or encumber it by no later than 12/31 of 2024. We can spend it through 12/21 of 2026. Otherwise, it needs to be returned to the U.S. Treasury. You approved a plan back in October of 2021 for the use of Crow Wing County's American Rescue Plan Act dollars. Further, the board appointed Commissioners Brecken and Hoag as a subcommittee of the board to review the proposals that were coming in from the various sectors. We have two projects that have been reviewed by that ARPA subcommittee, have been sent to the Budget Committee for review, and are here today for your consideration. The one is a project in Bay Lake Township, and the other is a project in the city of Baxter. I've enclosed maps in your packet so that you'd have an idea of where those projects are. Both Bay Lake Township and the city of Baxter have approved some significant contributions to these projects so that we know that there is strong local support for these projects. I would put them forward for your consideration for approval.
What are the wishes?
I'll make the motion to approve the use of the ARPA funds for the attached list of broadband projects in Bay Lake Township and the city of Baxter.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Barrows, second by Commissioner Coring. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, we only have one broadband project that is still outstanding up in the Ideal Township Jenkins Township, City of Jenkins area, so that's the only one I think that you should expect to hear, continue to hear something about as we move forward. Also enclosed in your packet, Mr. Chair, members of the board, was a request for board action, and it is for the Natural Resources Advisory Committee. We have gotten a resignation from Roger Roy. He was the at-large representative on the Natural Resources. Our next meeting is scheduled for July 6th. So the action we're requesting is to accept the resignation of Roger Roy, to prepare a certificate of appreciation for his service, and to advertise the vacancy expiring 1/31 of '23.
Mr. Chair, are you looking for a motion on
I
this?
believe that would be
I would so move.
motion by Commissioner Coring.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Barrows. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So, Mr. Chair, before we move on that, so this is just a suggestion. Commissioner Barrows and myself just were the selection committee for the Airport Commission because we had a vacancy there. I guess I would suggest that, this is a suggestion, but I leave it up to the chair, that we appoint 2 county commissioners to and advertise for candidates, and then have the 2 county commissioners bring a recommendation back to the county board.
I'm okay with that. Are you suggesting yourself and Commissioner Barrows?
I'm suggesting whoever, no, I never said that. I can, whoever wants to be.
You do it,
I don't know, Rosemary, do you want to do it?
if you will.
I'll do it.
Okay.
If somebody else feels really strongly about it, I don't care.
So Commissioner Franzine, Commissioner Coring will be assigned the interview process.
Okay.
Do we want to vote on that, or did?
Mr. Chair, that can be a chair appointment.
Okay, we'll go with that then. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the only other thing I have for you today is to set a public hearing for a road vacation in the unorganized territory. This would be a petition that we have received to vacate a portion of Wonder Road. It is in the plat of Wonder Acres in Crow Wing County. Signatures have been verified. Public hearing had previously been set for December 14th, but was postponed at the request of the petitioner's attorney. And so, acting as the town board for the first assessment district, I'm suggesting that you schedule a public hearing for May 24th at 9:05 regarding the petition to vacate that part of Wonder Road as dedicated in the plat of Wonder Acres.
Okay, so we'll.
Motion to approve.
We have a
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Franzine, second by Commissioner Barrows. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Additional business.
Tim, that's all you got?
Mr. Chair, that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions about...
You skipped senior management team report.
Oh, yeah, I did skip senior management team report. Thank you, Trace. We did have a senior management team meeting yesterday, and we met with our continuous improvement team about trying to, reinvigorate some of those efforts. COVID was a setback in trying to get people together. And so doing continuous improvement work is oftentimes having groups of people get together to analyze processes and look for ways that we can improve them. So we're trying to give a new shot in the arm to that. We also had a conversation about a newsletter that we have gotten a copy of that Cass County did, so had some conversations about how we might use the real estate that we already have in our tax statement notices. There's a full 2-sided page, and Gary brought forward that it doesn't necessarily always need to be land services stuff. So talking about, is this something that we can try to curate as a group to, get more information out to the public about county government that's relevant to them. We also talked about the Pick a Mile road program and the success that we're having with the Pick a Mile. The senior leadership team signed up for a stretch of county road to do Pick a Mile. I won't be surprised if Mr. Bray at some point in time hits you up and asks you to pick up a mile of county road. That'll be between you and him, of course, won't it? And then we heard some HR update stuff about the process for performance review appeals, contract negotiations, updates for this coming year, and job evaluation processes. So I'm happy to answer questions about that or anything else related to county government.
Mr. Chair, could I ask a question to the county administrator?
You sure can.
Okay. So, Tim, obviously, yeah, I think you do a good job of informing the county board of everything that's going on. You forward on emails and letting us know what's going on, which we need to know so we can make a good decision. One thing I've noticed over the last 3 months, my perception, and maybe I'm wrong, there seems to be a huge amount of data requests. And I completely understand by state statute we have to comply with that. But I'm assuming that that's not done in 10 minutes. I mean, but it just seems like, is there more data requests now than you've seen in the past, I guess, is what I don't know, I've just seen a lot of emails, and I just kind of a curiosity thing, and how much staff time is it taking? And I don't know, maybe I'm kind of catching you off on the spot here, but if you don't know the answer, that's fine. But
Well, first off, thanks for noticing, because there have been. It's been about a 3- to 4-fold increase in data requests that we've gotten within the last year to year and a half. So we're staffed, if you will, to handle the historical volume. It has been taxing on staff, in particular in the IT field, in administration. Oftentimes the requests are to inspect data, which means there is no charge. Nothing's free. Nothing is free. And so if the requester is not paying for that data request, then everybody in the county who pays taxes is paying for that request. I could put a presentation together for you that talked a little bit more specifically about those numbers and what we're seeing, if you're interested in seeing that.
I guess I'm just curious about it. I wonder how it works, because I would assume that somebody's got a set of duties to take care of. There isn't somebody specifically that's sitting there waiting to do these. I mean, this is taking away from somebody else doing. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
We're staffed for the
I
historical
think,
level.
I don't know about, I guess it's up to the rest of the board, but I guess I'd like to know how this is affecting, and I hope we don't have to hire more people, is what that's my ultimate thing, is conservative and as tight as I am with the money, I just don't want us to be hiring more staff.
For data requests that people are willing to pay for, it covers the cost of the data request. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not as concerned, but for those who just want to inspect data, which is free to them, but not free to us, then it has the potential to drive an additional staff component. I am thinking about it. I can tell you that I have a folder on my desk now for data practice requests in order to make sure that we don't forget one or let something fall through the cracks. I've never had to do that in 28 years, but now I'm feeling compelled to make sure we're properly tracking and responding to each of them.
As we
so
have
many.
to. Yes.
There are so many.
I don't know. I guess Mr. Chair, I'd like to, I don't know where it would be appropriate, in committee of the whole or somewhere, that we maybe put something together just to educate the board on what's happening.
I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right, any other questions for the administrator? Seeing none, additional business, we have a grant request.
We're on to this.
Well, Mr. Chair, County Board, thank you so much for adding this to the agenda. This is a request for support for us, Crow Wing County, to apply for impact funding through Sourcewell. We applied for this similar funding last year, along with the Region 5 counties. Morrison County is our fiscal host of these dollars currently. This money will help us to bolster our Phase 2 options for our SIBS or SFT program. SIBS stands for Collaborative Intensive Bridging Services, and as the RBA, there we go, notes, this program is around youth from 8 to 17 years, keeping them in our community and providing additional supports to them and their families as needed. We believe that this program has significantly helped in lowering our out-of-home placement costs, and we will be continuing this program. We have it built into the structure of just the way we work, regardless of these dollars. However, in good partnership with our other Region 5 counties, would be applying for these Sourcewell funds. If you have program-specific questions, Pat Charbonda is online to answer those for you if you would like. Otherwise, I ask you to approve us applying for these dollars.
So, Mr. Chair, I've got a question. So just so I can wrap my head around this, so we are not, Crow Wing County, what was I say, Crow Wing County is not requesting the dollars. We're giving a letter of support so that Region 5 can request the dollars, correct? Or how?
Yes, and we would get a portion of the monies, Crow Wing County would, to help further the development of the Phase 2 work in this project. So developing more foster homes that have, or folks with that skill level to be able to provide that higher level intensive behavioral care for our youth. But we're applying as a regional group, but each county will benefit from the dollars. If that makes sense.
Mr. Chair, to Sourcewell.
Correct.
So, Mr. Chair, so has there been a grant like this every year, or is this every year that you have to reapply to
Every year, yep. Impact funding, it used to be, I believe, innovation funding, it was known as, but we've brought an application before. Other county departments often bring applications forward, sheriff's office with drones and those types of things. There's a get-together at Sourcewell, or there was pre-COVID, where counties will vote on the different projects. So it's a long-established system of grant review, and we've been a part of it.
Mr. Chair, so how much has Crow Wing County received just last year then for this?
Excellent question, and I defer to Pat. Do you know, Pat, what our dollars were last year?
I'm not certain. I believe it was 200 and some thousand.
Thank you. And so that's specific for this program that we're asking for as well.
Right, and that covered the cost of a regional coordinator, as well as a ton of training and consultation from the folks from Dakota County who have this program for a long time.
Mr. Chair?
So I was just going to say, Rosemary, if I could just ask another question, Mr. Chair. So it says $104,898. How could we get $200,000 out of that?
That was my question.
Last year, that's what we applied
sorry.
for. And
I'm
we're-
sorry, I was referring to last year's grant.
Yep, that's how much we got last year.
Crow Wing County got that, or all?
5.
Region 5?
Correct.
How
region
much?
project.
How much did we get? This county get?
That went toward employing the SIBS coordinator, and then, Pat, did we get any separate dollars?
No, it didn't get divvied up between counties. It's all just kind of one project.
We can find that out.
So we didn't get a slice of the pie or anything. Specifically, we just are part of the project.
When do you need this, and the answer about this?
Pat, when are the applications due?
I believe May 7th, I believe.
Okay, so we don't have another county board meeting. I would really like some of those questions answered before, like how much did we actually get out of the 204?
So it's my understanding, and I'll follow up with you, commissioners, on this. Morrison County is the fiscal host, and so they receive the Sourcewell dollars, and they divvy it out per expenditure. So they pay for the SIBS coordinator. That money comes out from Morrison County. I will need to check, because if we did receive specific monies for Crow Wing County, it would have been to specific providers in paying for their time to set up this program, for training for this program. The one thing that's unique about us in regard to this program, SIBS, we had it before Region 5, and so we were kind of the test county, so to speak, and we stood it up. We've been involved in it, and we have been doing the work, so we have not capitalized maybe as much as other regional counties with the coordinator. Pat does the majority of our coordination for this program, so we'll be doing this regardless, as I had mentioned, if we get the money or not. We're just being a good partner to our other Region 5 counties.
I guess I had another question, but I guess it's probably not that important. So I guess I'll ask it anyway. So is it us volunteering to do a recommendation, or has Region 5 asked us to do this, or does Sourcewell ask for this?
Sourcewell requires it as a part of the grant process.
I see, okay.
So-
And I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair, if I can, to be clear, we would do the SIBS program regardless of whether we get a piece of this $104,000, correct?
Correct. We already have it built into our practice.
So this is just outside dollars that will help facilitate or reduce what our levy taxes would be providing, correct?
Correct. This would help to build the number of Phase 2 providers to be able to provide that service for more kids. It's not a simple funding source, as you well know.
Right.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Francine.
I would like to tell you that because this was laying on the desk this morning, I have not had the time to ask the questions. You haven't gotten the answers to me. Because I was not given this until this morning, I will be voting no, not because I'm against it, but because I don't know enough to make a good decision. And I know the programs are good, but I always do my research, and you haven't given me the time to do that.
And I apologize for getting it to you late. I did send out an email to all of the commissioners, I believe on Friday, but I know that was still short notice to have it reviewed, so.
And it wasn't in the packet, which normally those come out on Thursdays. Trace sends those out, and so we have a lot of time if we choose to ask questions, and having this be on my desk didn't give me that time.
Mr. Chair, if I might, and I understand the concerns of my fellow commissioner, but to me, the overriding concern now is that we have an early May deadline for this, and if we don't meet that, we will be exempt from these dollars, correct?
Correct.
So that's my concern, is that I think this is an opportunity to gather some dollars from outside resources to facilitate what we have to do in this county, or will be doing regardless. So, and I understand your position, but I also think it's imperative that we move forward with this.
Yeah. And Mr. Chair, and then just, so Sourcewell, I'm sure a lot of people don't know what Sourcewell is. Sourcewell is kind of a cooperative, isn't it, Tim? It's a cooperative, and we buy things through them, and I think they make quite a bit of money, apparently, when when they, actually I never usually call them Sourcewell, I call them something else, but whatever. But so if we buy a grader, they have the contract all written up already, and it's easy to go through them, and then they make a certain percentage, and so that's how they're making their money. And so so this really isn't necessarily taxpayer dollars in a way, kind of yes and no, I guess it is, but it is from the revenues that they make doing the work that they do, correct?
And I defer to Tim.
Mr. Chair, once a dollar comes into a public agency, it becomes a public dollar and must meet the public purpose doctrine in order to be expended. It's about the best answer I can give you. Once it becomes the government's dollar, it is a public dollar.
Okay.
And must conform to public statutes about the use of that public dollar. Now, there may be some exceptions to that, but overwhelmingly, that's what I would say.
Mr. Chair, so would you consider this public dollars?
Yes.
You would? Okay.
This is how they earned. Your description of how they earned it is correct.
Right.
I would say that all of the agencies that are purchasing from them are public agencies.
So it's still taxpayer money.
Yeah.
It's taxpayer money
Okay.
from some jurisdiction. Now, some jurisdiction can be in California, but that is how they make their money.
That reminds me, at one time I was out at a convention in San Diego, and there was a Sourcewell, well, it wasn't Sourcewell then, what was it called?
NJPA.
Yeah, they were there in San Diego, California. So, anyway, I guess I'm okay with this. Thanks for answering my questions.
Thank you.
Are we looking for a motion, or do we,
Yes, I believe so.
is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to support the Region 5's current funding request to Sourcewell for community impact funding in the amount of $104,898 to recruit, train, and establish therapeutic foster homes to provide Phase 2 programming and respite for youth and families involved in the SIBS SFT program.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Barrow, second by Commissioner Brecken. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wasn't going to say anything today, but I like the green. That's really good.
Trying to get spring to get here.
Classy. A little Irish. Having family that has been missionaries in China and having friends that we have in China, in Tianjin, Wuhan, different places. Right now, my sister, our family has people that are in Shanghai. Shanghai is in lockdown. They've been in lockdown for weeks because of a new virus. You talk of the data requests. The big concern that we have is the 2022 elections. We do not want a cycle through of 2020 happening again. People are concerned because what happens in China 5 months later is going to happen here. And whether, that's right around election time. So we are concerned. I know that there's a tug of war that you guys have between the data requests and being transparent, being conservative and being transparent. I'm not sure how you're going to handle it, maybe charge per page or something like that, some sort of a fee for the services, but there is a tug of war. Just knowing the questions that we have and that we agree to disagree, I believe there was election fraud. I just know that we do not want a repeat of all these data requests a year from now. And 2020, we want it to look different than 2022. We want 2022 to be better. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Corey.
Doug, I believe that, I know that your heart's in the right place. I mean, I've gotten to know you. I know your heart's in the right place. But I will tell you, as a very conservative Republican and somebody that voted for President Trump, and having been on the canvassing board with Commissioner Hogue, I asked Debbie Erickson 8 ways to Sunday of how somebody could perpetrate fraud. I am confident, totally confident in Crow Wing County. Now, do I think Minneapolis or down there? I don't know. I don't know because I'm not there. But I'm a little bit upset that when you guys come here, you're almost casting doubt, on the public officials that are elected here, that we're doing something fraudulent, Doug. And I am not. I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm speaking for myself. I am not doing anything fraudulent. I know Debbie Erickson is doing the best job she can.
Yep.
And I just, I'm almost kind of offended that you guys almost think that we're the bad guys. This is a country of laws, and we have to abide by the laws. Otherwise, we're going to go into jail. I'm not going to jail, going to break the law. And we submitted a resolution to the Secretary of State. I don't know what else we can do.
Yep.
I'm not going to, somebody said, we got to push back. Yes, I push back all the time, but I'm not going to break the law. And I guess I don't know, I've watched this for months, and
Yep.
now that I'm here in person.
I got to have it looking over here.
Yeah. And I promised after I just about died from COVID, I told Chelsea I was going to be kinder and gentler. But I got to tell you, I'm getting kind of fiery over this because I almost feel like you're making me as a county commissioner out to be like we're putting fraud on people or it's a legitimate election. I don't believe that, Doug.
Well, we are a country of laws. And
Yes,
we've seen
we
the
are.
laws broken for the last 2 years in different areas. The data requests that are being asked for, I understand them. I'm not asking for data requests, that's not me. But I understand the reason behind it. And again, we agree to disagree. And if you guys are taking this personally, this is not an attack on you, it's an attack on the way that we do things, the system. So it has nothing to do, if you guys are taking it personally, you're taking it the wrong way. Because we are not going after you individually as commissioners, or it's the system. And we want to know that we have fair, honest, and secure elections coming in 2022. 2020, we can't do anything about it. We can't go back and undo that.
No.
But if we don't investigate and look, and we feel that that there needs to be more done to investigate it, going back to the Dominion machines, if we can't look under the hoods, I don't know why in God's name that we're using those machines if we can't look at them. And not saying that I want to look at them, but there are people that are smarter than me that know exactly how to look at them and see what happened there. There was just different anomalies that happened in 2020, and in Minneapolis, you're right. There, the drop boxes, they had those all over the place down there. They had different things that were off the wall. Just knowing different things that Steve Simon had that he allowed in 2020, we don't want to see that happen again in 2022. And statewide, nationwide, we don't want to see that happen again. And so, I can't do anything about Hennepin, Dakota, and Ramsey, but Crow Wing I can. This is where I live. So, and we just agree to disagree. We just agree to disagree. But, it's not a personal thing against any one of you. And if you're taking it that way, I apologize, because that's not what we intend. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
I also don't know if there was any funny business going on. I don't know if you guys know about it or not. I think it's completely believable that you know nothing about it. And this all happens in the machines, which is why we don't want the machines anymore, because I can't come in and audit it. I have been asking for data requests. You're not giving it to me. If I can't look at it and say, I believe it, then that is not a good system. It's supposed to be auditable, which is how Dominion pimps themselves online, that yes, it's very auditable. Well, it's not, because you're not letting us see. And we can't just believe in what you say. In this day and age, those days are gone. We need to see proof. So I would just like to ask that you discuss the resolution, get it on the agenda, if possible, today.
I don't know, Mr. Chair, I don't know what there is to discuss. I just don't, I guess I'm not following where you're going with this.
Why we don't want the machines?
Well, I understand you don't want the machines, at least I understand that.
Well, that's what the resolution was for you to not use the machines for the 2020 election, because you won't let us see that you're using the proper windows.
I think we're giving you everything that we can by law.
No, that's not true.
Well,
You asked Simon to do the forensic audit. He said, no, you guys are the ones that are responsible for the election, not him. He's pushing it back on you. And when this comes out, and I believe it will, then you're going to be holding the bag. And all you have to do is just either let us look or go back to paper. We can trust that. And I'm glad that you trust it, but if no one else does, it just doesn't mean anything. Because our votes are supposed to count. And if we don't trust that, then how can we move forward?
I don't get it.
So you're not going to put it on the agenda?
The open forum part of this meeting is done. I think
We were just trying to get the resolution on the agenda.
and you did that in open forum, so we're,
It's not on the agenda, though. I wanted to discussion on it and for you guys to discuss it.
I think you introduced it to us at open forum, and we don't act on anything.
Put it on the
open
next
forum.
meeting's agenda?
We'll look at it, and if it has a reason to discuss, we will, but I think we've all kind of stated our thoughts on this, and I think early on, it was our administrator that, I don't know why you keep coming to us to change rules and laws that we can't. that we need to take, you need to take that voice to the people that can make the changes.
Yeah.
We can't.
Well, the Minnesota statute says that the county is responsible for our county election.
Well, we are going to follow the advice of our county attorney, and that's what we've done and will continue to do, so I guess that's where we're at with it, so.
Okay. And I noticed with this Wonder Road, Tim said the signatures have been verified. I thought that was kind of funny because you'll verify signatures for Wonder Road, but not for our absentee ballots.
Mr. Chair, I'd make the motion to adjourn.
Tim was trying to talk. Did you want to finish what you were saying?
No, I just said simply, we follow the law.
So motion is on the,
We have a motion by Commissioner Barrows. to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Coring. All in favor?
aye.